Have you ever wondered why the deepest wounds in your life refuse to heal? Why the pain you tried to bury keeps echoing when no one is watching? What if I told you, your brokenness is not a punishment, not a mistake, not your enemy? That fracture in your story is not random. It's a hidden doorway, a map carved into your soul by heaven itself. And today, we are going to uncover that truth. Because the very places where you feel most fragile may be the places where your destiny is waiting. This is not a message everyone will understand. Only the chosen will recognize it. And if your spirit is still here, leaning in, I know you are one of them. In this video, you'll see why your brokenness carries divine meaning, why silence, rejection, and scars were never accidents, and why the last revelation at the end is the one that changes everything. So don't just watch halfway. Stay until the end, because that's where the crown hidden in your brokenness will be revealed. Before we dive in, let me ask you, does your spirit feel this word is for you? If yes, pause now, like this video, subscribe, and type 111 in the comments. 111 is the number of divine alignment, a sign that heaven is placing your steps exactly where they need to be. When you do this, you're not only helping YouTube show this message to more chosen ones, you're declaring that you are ready for what heaven is about to reveal. Are you ready? Then let's step into the first truth. Number 1. The fracture is the entry point. Think of a seed. On the outside, it looks whole, even unbreakable. But for life to emerge, it must be broken. The shell has to crack. Only then does the hidden potential come forth. That's what's been happening in your life. The pain you tried to escape. The moment when everything collapsed. The season when you thought, this is the end. It wasn't the end. It was the opening. Haven't you noticed? Your greatest growth didn't come in comfort, but in breaking. It's as if heaven uses the very things that feel like destruction to unlock doors comfort never could. The fracture is not punishment. It's permission. Permission for heaven to enter places in your soul that were locked away. Picture a stained glass window. Up close, its fragments glued together, sharp and uneven. But step back, and light shines through the cracks, forming a masterpiece. That is your life. The cracks are where the light enters. Here's the hidden truth the enemy never wants you to know. He points to your crack as weakness, whispering, "You're damaged. You'll never be whole." But heaven says, "This is where I reveal myself. This is where my glory pours through." So don't despise the fracture. Don't run from it. Ask heaven, what are you birthing here? Because every fracture carries destiny. Your brokenness is proof that you carry something too powerful to stay hidden. Diamonds form under pressure. Gold is purified by fire. Seeds break to release life. Your story is no different. Think back for a moment. A broken relationship, a financial collapse, a diagnosis, a betrayal. Looking back, can you see how that season shaped you? How it forced growth you never would have chosen, but desperately needed? That wasn't random. It was heaven planting a fracture so your next season could begin. And here's the encouragement. You are not broken beyond repair. You are broken open for transformation. So instead of asking, "Why me?" start asking, "What's being born through this?" Because what you thought was the breaking is actually the birthing. But stay with me, because this is only the beginning. If the fracture was the doorway, the next revelation is the silence that follows. And silence is not empty. It carries a hidden voice, speaking louder than words. Number 2, the silence between seasons. Have you ever stepped outside on a winter morning? The trees look lifeless. The ground feels hard. The air carries no song. And yet, beneath the surface, roots are stretching deeper, preparing for spring that cannot be rushed. That's what silence feels like in your life. When prayers go unanswered, when doors stay closed, when heaven seems quiet, you wonder, did I do something wrong? Has God left me? But silence is not abandonment. Silence is preparation. It's the hidden work you cannot see. If every prayer were answered instantly, If every question resolved in a moment, you'd never learn to trust the unseen. You'd never grow roots strong enough to survive the storms ahead. The silence between seasons is not wasted. It is sacred. It's heaven whispering, wait, something is taking shape in the dark. Think of a caterpillar in a cocoon. From the outside, it looks like stillness, almost death. But inside, wings are forming, transformation unfolding cell by cell. That's what heaven is doing in you during silent seasons. And silence tests you. It asks, will you run away? Will you give up? Or will you trust the unseen working in your favor? The chosen ones always feel this tension, the in-between, the not yet. Sometimes the silence is so heavy it feels louder than noise. But silence itself is a language. It says, you are trusted with mystery. It says, your roots are growing deeper than anyone can see. It says, you are being prepared, not punished. Let me ask you, have you ever looked back on a season when you thought nothing was happening, and later realized it was the most important season of growth? That relationship delay that forced you to rediscover yourself. That job rejection that pushed you into your real calling. That prayer that seemed ignored but saved you from disaster. Silence was not failure. Silence was protection. So hold on. Silence is never empty. It is pregnant, carrying answers not yet born. Here's something practical. Instead of fighting silence, start recording it. Keep a journal of dreams, impressions, and thoughts during quiet days. What heaven doesn't shout, it often whispers. And when you write it down, you'll see patterns and answers later. So don't curse the silence. Treasure it as the soil where your future is being planted. And yet, if silence carries this much power, what about your tears? Because tears are not weakness. They are liquid prayers, carrying messages even words cannot form. That revelation is next. Number 3, tears as unspoken prayers. Have you ever cried so deeply that no words could come out? The kind of tears that burn in your chest before they reach your eyes. The kind that make you whisper, does heaven even notice this? Here's the hidden truth. Your tears are not weakness. They are not wasted. They are liquid prayers. Every tear is like a letter written in a language only heaven fully understands. You may lack words for your pain, but your tears speak beyond language. Think of a child's cry. A mother doesn't need an explanation to respond. The cry itself moves her. And if that's true of human love, how much more of divine love? The scriptures say heaven collects every tear in a bottle. None of your pain is lost. Every night of weeping has been recorded as part of your destiny. And here's the mystery. Tears water the soil of your future. Like rain softens the ground for seeds to break through. Your tears soften your spirit so destiny can take root. So when you cry, you are not breaking down. You are sowing. And what is sown in tears will be reaped in joy. But notice the strategy of the enemy. He tries to shame you for crying. He whispers, you're weak. No one cares. Yet heaven answers, this cry is your strength. This cry is your prayer. This cry is the sound of your breakthrough. Let me ask you, have you ever wept over something you thought was the end, only to realize later it was the beginning? That breakup, that betrayal, that failure, those tears weren't wasted. They were seeds. Joseph's tears in the pit watered the path to the palace. Hannah's tears in the temple birthed a prophet. And what about you? What is being birthed through your tears right now? Here's your application. Don't hide them. Next time tears come, whisper, these tears are prayers. Heaven, receive them. It shifts everything. Suddenly you see you're not collapsing. You're being built. And here's the hidden promise. Heaven never ignores a weeping chosen one. Your tears are heaven's alarm clock. They call attention faster than words. But if tears carry this much power, what about rejection? What if the very rejection you've been crying over was never the end, but heaven's redirection? That is the next revelation. Number 4, rejection as redirection. Few things cut as deeply as rejection. The job you thought was yours but went to someone else. The person you loved who walked away. The group you tried to belong to but never fit in. Rejection stings. It feels like failure, like proof that you're not enough. But what if rejection was never the end? What if it was heaven's secret way of guiding you to the path you were always meant to walk? Think of a GPS. You miss a turn and it says recalculating. That's rejection, not failure, but divine recalculation, steering you away from dead ends. Here's the truth. Rejection is often heaven's protection. Look back for a moment. How many times did you cry over someone leaving, only to realize later their absence saved you? How many doors slammed shut that, in hindsight, were mercy? At the time, it felt like loss. But later, you saw it was rescue. Picture a child running toward a busy street. A loving parent pulls them back abruptly. To the child, it feels harsh, like rejection. But the parent knows that pull was protection. That's heaven with you. The rejection you thought was punishment was really a rescue. And here's the deeper truth. Chosen ones rarely fit where they don't belong. That's why rejection feels common in your story. Heaven won't let you settle beneath your destiny. So instead of asking, "Why did they reject me?" start asking, "What was I redirected to?" Write down past rejections, relationships, jobs, dreams that failed. Next to each, ask, "What protection was hidden here?" You'll begin to see a pattern. Heaven has been guiding you all along, and sometimes rejection is proof of your calling. Not everyone can carry your light. Some doors close because your anointing is too costly for that room. So don't resent closed doors. Thank them, because doors that stay shut are just as holy as the ones that open. Now think about this. If rejection redirects you, what about the scars it leaves behind? Because rejection doesn't just close doors, it marks you. And those scars are not signs of defeat, but seals of identity. That's the next revelation. Number 5. Scars as seals of identity. Every scar tells a story. A childhood fall, a surgery that saved your life, a wound that healed but left a mark. Scars are reminders of survival, but spiritually, they are more than memories. They are seals, proof that you walked through fire and came out alive. Chosen ones always carry scars, because those called to heal others cannot escape the fire themselves. Your scars are not shame. They are your authority. Think of a soldier. Would you follow a general with no battle marks, or one whose scars prove he survived the front lines? In the same way, your scars give credibility. They say, "I've been there, I know the pain, and I know survival." In ancient cultures, kings pressed seals into wax to prove authenticity. Scars work the same way in your spiritual journey. They mark you as heaven's own. Here's the paradox. Scars aren't polished or beautiful. They're uneven, rough, and yet they are proof of healing, proof that wounds no longer bleed. Your scars are evidence that you cannot be destroyed. So let me ask, which scars have you tried to hide? Emotional scars from rejection, mental scars from failure, physical scars that make you self-conscious? What if those very marks were heaven's seal, showing the world nothing could break you completely? There's a saying, don't trust a leader without a limp. Why? Because those who limp have walked through valleys. Their scars give weight to their words. The same is true for you. Your scars don't disqualify you. They qualify you. They give you authority to speak life into those still bleeding. Here's a practical step. Instead of hiding your scars, share one as a testimony. Tell a friend, "I went through this, I survived, and here's what I learned." Your scars become someone else's healing, and here's the reward. When you embrace your scars, shame loses its grip. You stop seeing them as disfigurement and start seeing them as crowns. But scars are not the final sign. If fractures open the door, silence grows your roots, tears water your soil, rejection redirects your path, and scars mark your survival. Then the last revelation ties it all together. It is the hidden crown inside your brokenness, the most powerful truth of all. Number 6, the hidden crown inside the brokenness. Have you ever seen Japanese pottery called kintsugi? A vessel once shattered, restored with liquid gold flowing through every crack, doesn't return to what it was. It becomes more radiant, more valuable, more glorious. That's you. Your brokenness was never meant to leave you in pieces. It was meant to crown you with glory. Every fracture, every tear, every rejection, every scar, none of it was random. It was preparation for your crown. The crown of destiny is never placed on someone untouched by pain. It rests on those who walked through fire, who were broken, but let heaven rebuild them with gold. This is why you couldn't remain in places that tried to contain you, why the battles were so heavy. Heaven was preparing you to carry something weightier than most can imagine. Think of David. Before the crown, there was wilderness. Before the throne, betrayal and exile. But the broken path prepared him for kingship. The same is true for you. The places you thought would destroy you became the foundation of your authority. Here's the hidden truth. Brokenness is not the opposite of glory. It is the doorway to it. When you were shattered, heaven wasn't abandoning you. Heaven was redesigning you, filling your cracks with gold, shaping you into a vessel so unique your story itself shines. This is why the enemy fought you so hard. He saw the crown hidden in your cracks. He knew once heaven poured gold into your story, your influence could not be silenced. So let me ask, what if the part of your story you're most ashamed of is the very place heaven wants to display the most beauty? What if the brokenness you've tried to hide is the very crown others will recognize? Here's your application. Begin declaring it. Every morning, look in the mirror and say, "My brokenness carries my crown." Speak it until it feels true, because declaration activates destiny. And here's your reward for reaching this moment. Now you know the truth the enemy tried to hide. Your brokenness has a divine reason, and that reason is not defeat, it is your coronation. Everything until now was preparation, but this moment is why you were chosen. The fracture was the opening. The silence was the growth. The tears were the prayers. The rejection was the redirection. The scars were the seals. But the crown was always your destiny. This is the hidden truth. Your brokenness was the throne being built for your calling. And now, chosen one, it is time to step into it. You didn't find this message by accident. You were guided here. Every word, every image, every revelation whispers from heaven to your spirit. The fracture in your story was not the end. It was the doorway. The silence you endured was not abandonment. It was preparation. The tears you cried were not wasted. They were liquid prayers. The rejection you faced was not failure. It was heaven's redirection. The scars you carry are not shame. They are proof you survived. Proof your voice carries weight. And now, the hidden crown in your brokenness has been revealed. The very places you thought would bury you were shaping the throne of your destiny. Listen closely. Not everyone will understand this. Not everyone will believe it. But you were never meant to be understood by everyone. You were meant to be chosen. That's why you are here. Not to live in shame, not to hide in the shadows of your past, but to step fully into your crown. So here's my challenge. Don't let this be just another video you watch and forget. Take action. Speak it. Declare it. If this word resonated, share it with another chosen one who needs to know their brokenness carries glory. And leave your declaration in the comments right now. Write these words. I am stepping into my destiny. Because speaking is not just action, it is activation. It tells heaven, earth, and your own soul, I am ready. And if you haven't yet, subscribe now. Not just so you won't miss the next message, but because every subscription tells YouTube, show this word to more chosen ones. You become part of carrying light to those still lost in their silence and scars. So type it, share it, subscribe. And before you go, don't stop now. There's another word waiting for you on your screen. Click it, step into it, because your journey doesn't end here. It only begins.